5. Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. And my camera's all messed up. Okay, that's better. Um, for whatever reason, my computer did not want to give me sound tonight. I can put it on a YouTube and I get sound. I put it on StreamYard, no sound whatsoever. So thank you, Mel. Thank you, Gerald.
Thank
Please
you.
welcome my co-hosts. Thank you, Gerald, for filling in for Arthur. And we will
Glad to do
definitely
it.
be hauling you back some more. And for all
Yeah,
of y'all's help
yeah.
trying to help me figure this out. And
Gerald was giving me a tutorial about Canva and Mac and a lot of things before you got your sound fixed. So it wasn't bad because I got a tutorial here.
there
And I
you
love
go.
it because I am so
Whatever works, right?
well. I don't
Oh
know
my
how to do a lot
goodness.
of it, and I told Gerald
Oh,
to admit that, but
And pretty soon, Shari, you're going to see him being able to do this.
I'm sure because you're teaching everybody but me because I don't have a Mac. I have a PC.
well, once you go Mac, you don't go back.
That's
Yeah,
right.
well,
I've heard that. Yes.
that's what I've heard. But I also know people who swear against them. They're like, I'll never use that again. So it's
Well, I can
whatever you're used to, I think. Whatever
I can do both, but actually, I think it's what you've become used to. But I like Mac because it's more user friendly. I think it's just not compatible with everything, but there's ways around it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All righty. And you know what made it even worse is I spent like all day, every time I got a few minutes break, writing questions, stuff I was checking on the internet. And then when I've left my damn paper sitting on my desk at work.
Uh-oh.
Well,
This is not my day.
I've got those.
So I'm sure you have questions. I'm sure there are people in the chat that will have questions. Thank you, everybody, for being so patient and waiting on me. I do appreciate it. I hate it when crap goes wrong.
I see Geek Hillbilly. Can I just say something he said?
You sure can.
He says you need to have a weather band radio handy. Severe storms in your area tomorrow.
Yeah, that's supposed to be.
Well, yesterday it was in the 60s here, and today it's 66. Tomorrow it's going to be in the 70s. And I cannot remember, and I say this all the time now, I cannot remember when it's been this warm in February. Then tomorrow night is going to get cold. And what I'm fearful, well, intuitively, I see tornadoes coming our way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if any are going to hit the Chicago area or suburbs, but I've got stuff that I've taken down in the basement. My husband thinks I'm crazy, but better to be in the basement and safe than they have some tornado take my ass to Oz. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've been in 60s, 70s. We're supposed to hit the 80s tomorrow, and then it's going to go back down again to the 60s. And during the mix of all of that, it's thunderstorms after thunderstorms. So it's going to be one of those weeks.
Well, I get it for Louisiana, but it kind of gets real hot in the summer. But what's it like, Gerald, in Ohio and Cleveland?
Well, right now it's actually very warm, and it's oddly warm. We had on Friday, we got about 3 inches of snow.
Yeah.
and now what are we? We're I'm going to look because that's the way I am. We are here. We're at 54, but
And yes, I have weather alert
67
yeah.
earlier today. So
we
Cindy's saying put weather alert on your phone. Yeah, I've got our local weather channel and then the weather channel both on my phone. So that if there's any emergency stuff that comes in, it'll sound the alarm. And
we had snow like 3 or 4 days ago. And then the very next day, it was like, I was walking in the parking lot thinking I gotta be careful. There's black ice. and we had a couple inches, and then by that day, the next day, it all melted. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just weather is crazy, and
We had like maybe 2 weeks worth of cold weather, which was like right around freezing temps in the 30s over the holidays. And then it started warming back up again in 40s and 50s, and which is normal for us this time of year,
Hmm.
is upper 40s, low 50s. Um, but yeah, weather's been just wild. It's been crazy.
somebody here
And
says Michelle Maybell record high 90s in Dallas Fort Worth area, Texas. So
yeah,
it's all over.
yeah, and Geek is talking about they got a cold front getting ready to hit them with a
Mm.
50-degree temp drop. Yeah,
How does Geek live?
Kentucky.
I should
He's
know.
in Kentucky. He's
Wow.
Geek. Are you over close to where Lisa's at?
Well, Lisa's in Fairdale. That's a suburb of Louisville.
Yeah,
I've got
and
cousins in Fairdale, actually.
Hmm.
Lord, I got cousins everywhere. Go down to Kentucky and throw a rock, and you hit like 4 relatives.
hi, Michelle Marie. Thank y'all very much. Okay, I got a couple stuff starred that I actually saw.
Okay.
That
Hmm.
we can like maybe actually do what we came here to do.
There you
Well,
go.
Moscow might shut down the government.
Well, if he does, it's going to be a nail in the coffin for the Republicans. You know,
Absolutely.
we were having dinner. Um, well, I'll get to that in a minute. But over dinner, my husband comes up with these. I call them psychic light bulb moments, and I think, ooh, he doesn't think he's psychic, but I think sometimes he is.
We're
But
all psychic. We just don't all
we
admit
all
it.
have it, but some more than others. But I think Trump is behind this. This whole, well, we know he's running the House, and Trump doesn't care if the government shuts down. Neither do a lot of the MAGAs. But if it shuts down, those senators and people in the House aren't going to get paid. So, I see them just coming right under the wire and just saying, "Oh wait, okay, we'll extend it again for 2 or 3 more months." That's how I'm intuiting it, but I might be wrong. But what do you all think?
Well, go, Gerald. Go ahead and go while I look at these.
Can't hear you, Gerald.
Of course not. I'm still shuffling. It took me a second to get my cards out.
I like to shuffle. I like to hear the sound of it.
I do too, but not everybody does. Um, you want me to go then? You're still looking at
I
your
am
stuff?
just going to say, I'm going to hang on. Let me turn over my cards. He's not going to shut down the government. However, it's going to be he's going to do everything to make it as uncomfortable and painful as possible. Because I got the 9 of Swords, the 10 of Swords, King of Swords, 9 of Wands. I mean, there's just so much at stake here. I think, Mel, you said that. There's so much at stake.
Yeah.
So it's like it's crazy. I think well, and I do have the Death card. So
Ooh,
Oh, there you go.
oh, justice.
you pulled Justice. There you go. There you go. And so, I mean, I also have I do have the 9 of Swords and the 10 of Swords. So this is it's if it doesn't happen, I mean, it's going to be last minute. I mean, they're going to it's 11:59 p.m.
Yeah.
is when things are going to happen.
Well, Moses Mike is in for some.
Moses Mike, I love that.
I like that's what I call him, Moses Mike. He thinks he's a dragon, and he's burning the candle at both ends. But he's going to be drowning in the ocean because no matter what he does, he's going to have people pissed off at him. And if he keeps the government running, then he's going to have the extremist in the House calling for his head to have him removed. And And if he does shut it down, then he's going to have everybody else calling for his head for letting it shut down. So he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't.
For you, when y'all were talking, I pulled the moon, and that's a lot of things coming to the surface about him and other
Yeah.
people. And there's going to be people coming to the forefront and saying that T. Rump has, been directing Johnson as to what to do. I mean, we know it, but people are going to come forward and confirm that. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's ridiculous.
it's beyond ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. If y'all spot anything, holler.
Kathy Reagan's asked, there you go.
Vladimir Zelensky ever receiving? Oh, I think he will.
I see him getting all kinds of prizes, and at some point, he's going to be reelected as president
Hi, Kevin.
of Ukraine. Hi, Kevin, of Ukraine, and I see Putin gone at some point, and at some point, I see a democratic Russia, and they're going to be allies with Ukraine again, because I see, Crimea, all of that, once again belonging to Ukraine, and the Ukrainians are not going to stop fighting. They're not. So.
Well, what country was it that was holding up the vote for? This was one of the ones I wrote down.
For Sweden to go into NATO.
For Sweden to go into NATO, they came out massively for them to be able to join today. Their parliament met.
That was a middle. Putin is hopping mad because instead of Sweden and if Finland joined, he would use nuclear weapons. Well, I don't believe that for a nanosecond. And that was Sweden giving the middle finger to Putin.
And maybe I'm just, because I like to look at the world through rose-colored glasses, but I honestly don't feel like he's really got any kind of nuclear weapons that work. I mean, we've seen the condition his stuff was in when he started all this mess.
Well, but he could get them going, and he tricked
I just pulled a hermit
years ago into giving him nuclear weapons because Ukraine, the former Soviet Union, had a lot of nukes. So
yeah.
Gerald, what do you think?
I'm actually thinking. I actually see him getting other awards first.
Yep.
So it's not it's not just the Nobel Peace Prize. There are other things that.
Thank you, Elaine. It was Hungarian. Sorry, Gerald. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay. It's going to be. There's going to be other accolades that are going in for him before we get to the Nobel Peace Prize, because all of the right people are noticing and are watching and supporting. Because I have the Nine of Cups with the moon, which says to me, more things are coming to light, but they're going to make people feel more secure in how they feel, so their emotions are invested in it.
When you were talking, Gerald, my psychic light bulb went on, and I agree. I think he'll get some awards before he'll get the Nobel Peace Prize, but I think the Nobel Prize carries a cash prize as well, which I think he's going to donate to the Ukrainian people.
I would agree with you. I get full body tingles on that. This is something. If when he gets it, it's actually going to be for the benefit of the greater good.
Good. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because he's going to be the King of Wands, going to help inspire people.
I pulled the Six of Hearts when I asked about Zelensky.
Page of Pentacles.
It means he will be victorious.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I see Zelensky going down in the history books as the person who taught the world how to stand up for democracy again.
That's right. And we could learn from him in this country.
Exactly. I
Yes.
just the minute it all started happening, that was one of the first messages I've got was he's going to be the linchpin and the one that going forward everybody's going to point back to. He's the one that retaught the world what it is to be a democratic society.
Well,
Um,
and definitely inspiring people, because that's part of what you need to have happen. You need to have happen this sense of change occur. Did we just lose Sherry? I was
no,
just like, when all of a
I
sudden,
dropped my cards.
okay, I was like,
What falls to the floor comes to the door. Which one should you drop?
but he also he realized that the main motivation are the mothers on the streets and in the small towns, and who are losing their children, and wives who are losing their husbands and their and so it's like you got to connect to that.
I think you're right,
Children
Gerald.
losing
I
their
think
fathers. Yeah.
we can learn a great deal in this country and the rest of the world, at least the free nations, the truly democratic nations, are the ones that call themselves democracies,
Mm-hmm.
from Zelensky, because he has all of the talent and the ability to be a great leader, and he'll
Yes.
never misuse his power. Never.
Mm-hmm.
I think T. Rump and Vladimir Putin are modern examples of what happens when people do lose their power. I mean, I'm sorry, misuse their power. When they
Yes.
misuse their power. Um, people wonder how Hitler came to power, or how people, in Islamic countries get radicalized. Well, I think they need to look right here at home, because look at the ultra right wing radicalized MAGAs.
Yeah,
And
if they were brown skinned with turbans, they would be like people would be freaking out in this country with the brainwashing going on.
and
But
people,
because they're white good old boys with a pickup truck and an American flag, everybody wants to look the other direction.
And new gold shoes.
Yes.
and
Which is
people,
why the black people like him so
Oh,
much.
yeah,
geez.
oh, really?
Because he sells gold May shoes and he's been indicted like they get indicted all the time because they're all crooks and criminals.
When he held up those
He
gold
said
lame
that.
shoes, you know what? When he held up those gold lame shoes, that just showed what a racist he really was.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was saying, people are or that he really is. People are wondering how Hitler came to power. Well, it's happening in this country, but it's up to us to stop it.
Yes.
Part of what started it was the people allowed the press and the leadership to start otherizing people. They were still hurting from World War One. Most countries were hurting a lot financially. At that time, Germany was like America in a lot of respects. I mean, they had after World War One, they had a free press. They had, you had LGBTQ rights. You had just a lot of things that all of a sudden, the leadership started in with this is bad, this is bad, these people are out to get you, these people want your jobs. And then they boiled it all down to the Jewish race. It's all their fault.
Well,
They're not human. They're vermin.
the problem that happened in Germany after World War II was it was a free republic. However, inflation was runaway. I mean, you'd get paid in the morning, and a cost of bread, it would take a wheelbarrow full of money to buy a loaf of bread. And then, along comes somebody, Hitler was in jail because he tried to overturn the government. And that's when he wrote Mein Kampf. But you have somebody coming along that plays on the fears of the people and the xenophobia. And then he never was elected to the Reichstag was never elected as Chancellor of Germany by the people, he filled the parliament with his own Nazi members, and they put him in power.
Well, and then they staged, of course, the burning of the Reichstag and all that mess.
When the Reichstag was burned, which I know, psychically I know, and a lot of historians think so, I'm not an historian, but that Hitler had that done.
Yeah.
And he blamed a Jewish communist. And so he could just get the xenophobia raging. And look at what's going on here. Banning of books, book burning. That happened when in Nazi Germany when Hitler first came to power. And so we're seeing the same things going on here, but it's up to us to stop it. And my guides tell me that we will.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Very much so. Okay, let's see. If y'all have a question you want to throw out there, don't wait on me. Okay, Michelle had a question. Navalny's mom, now that she has his body, will they be able to bury him?
Did she get a body or did she get ashes?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Okay, chat. Does anybody know? Did she get his body or did she get his ashes?
Whatever. I mean, wherever they buried, and if this is ashes, who knows if they're even his? But I see a lot of monuments being made to Navalny, and I want to tell you something. His wife is going to be formidable in staging. I don't want to say revolution,
without a doubt.
But in staging things to bring down Putin.
Yeah, it looks like several of the the best chatters are mentioning that it looks like it's his body.
Okay, thanks, guys. I figured y'all would know.
Reports.
Like I said, I had a bunch of notes earlier, and then the sound thing is like my brain went blank.
Well, I read something today about Navalny, and it said that he was close to being freed in exchange for a Russian imprisoned in Germany. But it's amazing they came out with that story after he died. But I think that whole thing was a Putin ploy. Oh, well, if you let our prisoner go and sent back to Russia, we'll give you Navalny. I think that was a ploy just to divert everybody's attention because Putin had planned to have Navalny killed and did, in fact, have him murdered. And if you pull the tarot, I pull the magician. We're going to do something over here while this hand's deceiving everybody. So I don't think Putin ever planned to give Navalny or to trade Navalny for a prisoner. I think he had him killed instead. I don't know what you guys think.
I'm
I
getting
pulled the Five of Swords reversed, followed by the Two of Cups. So I'm feeling like I think she's wanting answers before she puts them in the ground. She may demand a more thorough autopsy, or at this stage, I don't know if they could find anything in his system or not, but
I'm also wondering if because I get a more no than yes, and I'm wondering if he's going to go on tour, so to speak, so that people can show support of the work that he did, much the same ways they used to, like presidents, they would move them through with the trains,
yeah,
and have that. That's to be honest with you, that's what I'm getting, because there's this need, and when you, am I allowed to say the word pissed off? When you pissed off someone's mother,
you can say whatever you want, Gerald.
When you've angered a mother, there's going to be hell to pay. We were just talking about that. The divine feminine and working with Ukraine. And at this point, the turning point is the divine feminine is going to be raging forth, going quickly and clearing the fields, so to speak, because it's just too much.
I think you hit on something. I think Navalny's mother and Navalny's wife are going to be huge forces
Oh
in
yeah.
bringing Putin down. But I just think that that whole thing I read about, that they say Navalny was close to being freed in exchange for a Russian imprisoned in Germany. I just think that was all. I don't see it. I don't think that Putin never had planned to free Navalny. Never.
No.
No, he never did. And I never understood why, after Navalny left Russia to get medical treatment, he went back. I mean, I know it was a statement he was trying to make by doing it, but at that time I was like, that's a wrong decision, dude.
Well, he
um,
was on an airplane though, and Putin had the airplane force the airplane down or something, wasn't it? Or took him off a plane. I don't think. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know if he went back. I forgot how. I think the plane. I think the plane landed somewhere, and Putin had people there to take him or something.
That could have been. That could have been. But
Um,
um
but I'm picking up that Putin is being paranoid, and I'm thinking he's being very self-isolating, almost like Stalin was. Uh, and it just his Navalny's murder made the whole world even more suspicious of Putin, or at least much of the world.
yeah.
I see him. I see him gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, take on it.
Let's see. Heavy metal veteran asked, do we see Trump having any severe medical issues like a stroke in the next few months? Did y'all see his performance at CPAC? He sounded and looked like he was drunk as hell. And I know he doesn't drink, but he was slurring his words. He couldn't get a sentence out. He was kind of fumbling around on the stage. It was like, this man is having strokes and nobody's doing anything about it.
Or maybe it's something else he takes. But the thing that I didn't watch that whole CPAC thing,
I
but
just saw clips from Midas Touch.
the thing that frightened me about it is when those two got up and said that I forgot exactly how they said it, but that they were talking like anti-democracy, and then they something about authoritarian. I forgot exactly how they said it, but I talked about it on my show today with Linda, and that whole thing was frightening. I did not see Trump. I didn't want to get nauseated,
Mm-hmm.
but
Like I said, I only watched clips that Midas Touch was showing earlier today. I saw some clips and it was like, I mean, I was watching them thinking that man's having strokes. I mean,
if anybody else talked about ending democracy in this country at a political action committee meeting, like if it was independents or if it was Democrats or whatever, oh my God, they would be railroaded out of town. And for two people to get up at that meeting and talk about the end to democracy and support that's frightening to me.
they said some frightening stuff at CPAC. Some of but yet the governors had their governors thing that they do in DC every year. They all, like all the governors from all the states, go for a week and they do special stuff and they have special lunches with the president and everything. And the one that was chosen to, I guess, be the chairman of the governors for the thing, he made this brilliant speech to Biden in full support, saying we may not agree on how things are done or are look the way we look at things, but you're our president and we have to support you because if you're successful, we're all successful.
That's true. That
I
is.
was like, well, thank God somebody's finally speaking the truth.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, not all Republicans are like the MAGAs. They're not, Um, The whole CPAC thing was frightening, at least the part that the glimpses I saw. But as far as Trump's health is concerned, my guides have shown me a long time dark clouds around his head area, and he really has to watch his health. Maybe he's having TIAs, tiny strokes, but clearly there's something going on upstairs that doesn't look right. What do you think, Gerald? That's what I'm picking up.
I'm not getting that he's going to have a stroke in the next few months, and again, for entertainment purposes only. I'm actually getting the sense that there's going to be something going on with his eyes, his vision, and I've seen him deteriorating consistently. But I am getting a sense of something with his eyes, and he may actually be having some chest issues. So I'm also wondering if they're going to have to get him in the hospital for that. So, I mean, and I know that's very vague, but, when I'm specifically looking for stroke, not a stroke, there's something going on with his eyes.
That could be. Well, I said stroke because of the way he was slurring his words and
Yeah.
mumbling and fumbling and just it reminded me of my great grandmother when she started having little mini strokes, and the way she would talk and kind of fumble around like she couldn't quite
Mm-hmm.
get her bearings on anything, and she couldn't talk clearly, which was not like her at all. So that was a big red flag for us. That's why it made me think strokes. But I mean, look at Moscow Mitch having strokes in front of the camera, standing at the podium.
What were you going to say, Mel?
I was just thinking that it could be medication he's on. I don't, they say he doesn't drink, but I don't know if he takes Adderall or something. I just don't know, but it could be medication induced. But I've seen him when he talks, and he just kind of goes all over the place, and there's no stream of thought. I mean, I've got ADD, and I kind of, got to reel me back in sometimes. But I just see dark clouds around his head area, and I've been saying it for a long, long time. My guides have shown me that, and so
I got the moon and the tower.
Ooh.
So something's going on.
Yeah,
so
most definitely.
But we've been foretelling that for a while. Shari, you've gotten a couple of other chats, questions in chat, and I've put a couple in the private chat just to track them down if you want.
Hi, Kevin. I see Kevin in the house.
Yeah, Colleen's, I've got her starred. So, because she's asked several times, I was going to go ahead and pull hers next. She's wanting to know if Supreme Court deliberately holding the appeal for immunity.
I hear a no. But my guides tell me, and I've been, a lot of people have asked this question. It's a good question, Colleen. Thank you. Or thank everybody for asking questions. But my guides tell me that the Supreme Court is going to say that Trump is not immune to prosecution. He's not immune from prosecution. So in other words, once they say that, then the trials continue. I don't know if it went through lower courts or not, but if it did, they would withhold what the lower courts would say. But clearly, they're going to say that he's not immune at all. Nobody's immune from breaking the law. Then the courts will pretty much say that.
Yes,
that's what I pick up. What do you all think?
I am. I got a yes, because it's just an effort just to try to screw things up. Will it be successful? I don't think so, because I have my indicator card with the 7 of Wands. People are knocking things down so that they can get out of the way. But that's a nice one. How about the Ace of Swords and the 5 of Swords together? So people are going to be, I mean, it's whatever they're trying to do, it's not going to work. Is
Yeah. I pulled Judgment, followed by the Ten of Cups reversed.
Uh,
So that's both of those together. That's telling me, yeah, no,
yeah.
my
that's
feeling is,
not good.
I don't know if lower courts heard it, but if the Supreme Court doesn't hear it, that would still mean that he's not immune from prosecution.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they'll pull something like that, but I still see him being prosecuted. So he's
And
got
the Supreme Court doesn't want to have to make a ruling on this because
right.
he's going to fall. They will fall out of his favor.
Well, I kind of think that we were having dinner tonight, and my husband, there was something about the Supreme Court, the thing that with Texas and Florida, and those states are trying to force social media platforms um, that let's see,
They
uh,
can't. They can't pull people's stuff that
correct. They're
step
trying
out of line.
right those what I had. Um, can Texas and Florida force social media platforms to carry content that the platforms find hateful or objectionable? And those two states are saying, well, if it's hateful or objectionable, that the social media platform doesn't have the right to ban it. And the Supreme Court is hearing that. And at dinner time, my husband said, my light bulb went on. He said, I'll bet Trump is behind that in Texas and in Florida because he's mad that he got booted from Twitter. And
Or X, as they call it now.
and I think Abbott and DeSatan, I think so through second or third party, said that they get their playbook a lot of times from Trump. So
Mm-hmm.
I think he influenced indirectly Abbott and DeSatan in Florida. But I feel the Supreme Court will not let those two states get by with it. They're going to say, no, they can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so where I was going with that is if they say that, then I also think, and I could tell by some of the questions or some of the things that the justices were saying as well, that they're not going to let those two states get by with that. So basically what'll happen.
Because they're both private companies, so they should be able to set their own rules of what is and isn't allowed.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I see is going to happen is that the social media platforms will be able to take content off that is hateful or objectionable.
I mean, you should be able to speak freely, but you can't yell fire in a crowded theater.
The other place I was going with it is if SCOTUS does that, and I know I really am convinced they will, they'll also say that Trump is not immune from prosecution. Because some of the crap he pulled, he might have been president, but you still can't incite. You cannot incite trying to overturn the government or trying to overturn an election or to embezzle money or commit fraud or all the other things he's pulled. So, I think you're right, Gerald. I might tap dance around it, but basically the gist of it's going to be that he is not immune.
Yeah. Well, and Michelle Marie, Astrological Tarot, added. Let's see if I can find it. Had said Trump's Nagshatra is in Mula. Mula's Shakti spiritual power is the power to completely destroy. He's doing his karma when he tears things apart. It's society's job to stop him.
Right.
And that means, and Shari, I'm going to get on my soapbox. Everyone go out and vote.
Yes.
Go out and vote. Vote for your children and your children's children, and your wives, your daughters, your grandchildren. Do it.
Absolutely.
I want one of those soapboxes. I want 3 of them.
You know, I am
We'll have
the
to make
props
us one.
master. You know,
um, and this is what Michelle Marie was saying there.
There you go. Love the fan.
And while we're talking about the Supreme Court, Kathy had a question. Do we see a changing of the guard on SCOTUS?
I see more justices added that's going to bring the court uh, back to center. And I see Roe v. Wade being reinstated at some point. And a lot of these things that they're trying in Texas and in Florida and in some of those other MAGA ultra red states, I think they're trying to see how much they can get by with, like Texas and Florida and some of those other states. But they're not going to win all that. You know, I told my husband tonight at dinner, I said, I find it amazing that, you know, MAGAs say, oh, they're all about individual freedoms, yet they're the first ones who's trying to take away our individual freedom.
mhm.
They're not going to be able to
Sorry.
succeed in doing that ultimately. So I see more justices on the court. And I see 2 justices leaving the court at some point, a lot sooner than later.
Yeah, I am feeling. Oh, interesting. I don't see it changing, like the members, but I do see the numbers being added. Exactly what you were saying, Mel, and I got it with the Hierophant. So how's that for creating these rules? So it definitely is there, and there is definitely needing to be a balance. Let's add the numbers, because it's not currently working.
And I
Right.
see term limits at some point. Plus, I also see laws and rules being passed that they cannot take donors. I mean, they cannot take money from our large donations from these rich individuals or from companies
Yeah.
to get legislation passed. They're going to say, nope, that's going to be, can't do it anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, I pull the Queen of Cups reversed.
Ooh.
So we're talking insecurity, people that are not they're not being very rational in their thinking, because at the same time they're trying. I also pulled the 2 of Pentacles. So again, those decisions to be made, but they're insecure about what those decisions are going to be. And I finished it off. I pulled Death. And so, we're looking at, I don't think that means a literal death that somebody's going to fall over and croak, but it's originally the court was set up to have 1 justice for each um district court, appeals court, and we've got 13 of those and we've only got 9 justices. Well, they're a few short. So yeah, we need to add to the Supreme Court.
Well, I see legislation being passed to say that they can only have X amount of justices and that there's going to be term limits, and they cannot, as I said, take money from these rich donors or from
They
these.
should have to follow the same ethical rules that all other judges under them have to follow.
Well, that they can't, it's to keep them from being bought or ruling in somebody who wants something ruled in their favor. And I think they're also going to pass the same kind of legislation for senators and members of the House, that they can no longer take that kind of money from large companies or wealthy individuals because those individuals want things passed. I see a lot of scrutiny coming with that, and I see the laws changing.
There's going to be a lot of changes because of what's going on. Things need to be different in order to successfully move forward.
I agree.
So,
So many people, I think, had, and I know I was one of them, who had the misgivings of thinking a lot of this stuff was set law, that they couldn't do XYZ because it was against the law, to only find out when Trump came in that no, there's no law. It was just a gentleman's agreement. And So most of them managed to skirt around the edges. And I mean, he was just the one that was dumb enough to do it right out in the open for everybody to see
and
and
didn't
flaunt
care.
it in our faces and didn't care. Yeah, I mean,
He thought he was above anything. But
exactly.
as a result of all that, I see a lot of legislation coming. We're going to be on a roller coaster ride in a powder keg. But I
Mhm.
see democracy winning, and my guides tell me that justice will be done. They keep saying that, and I
And when Trump was first elected, after I spent a week in bed from being physically ill at the thought, once I came up for air, I thought, you know what? He's going to be the best damn thing to happen to this country because he's going to expose everything that's wrong. And boy, howdy, did he do that. I mean, and then some. And I think it was a real shock for a lot of Americans who had been rolling along half asleep thinking everything's in control. Everybody's got it under control. We've got laws in place to protect us against this stuff. To discover that actually, no. Um, Louisiana is a perfect example of what happens when you don't go vote. We went
well,
after 8 years of having a Democratic governor who was granted he was a very conservative Democrat, he was very Catholic, but he did a lot of good for this state. He got a lot of programs started despite having a Republican House and Senate to deal with. He got a lot of programs started. He got a lot of good stuff brought into the state to help those that don't make $1 million a year. Um, he brought in programs to help children so they could get fed in the summertime with a summer SNAP program. Because here the schools here, all kids get free lunches. They don't have the nonsense of you have to pay for it, you don't eat. Um, and they had a program. The federal government has a program that they just made permanent. That the school lunches, the program for that will continue year round, whether school's in session or not. And the only thing that the states are asked to contribute is half of the administrative fees to operate it. So that's literally pennies on the dollar compared to what the federal government is putting into this program. Our governor turned it down. Said, "Oh no, we can't spend that kind of money on children. Their parents need to go get another job if they can't eat." That was his rationale. And he is a wide slap in the face to everybody of what happens when you don't vote. When he ran just a few months back, when he won the governor, we had the worst turnout in decades of people voting. And because of that, he won by a freaking landslide. When I knew people left and right, they were like, "Oh, I'm not going to vote for him." Well, you didn't bother to vote for anybody. You didn't show up.
I think it's one of those things that's really important is every single vote matters.
Absolutely.
So you what you do counts.
that's right.
And so
Reagan started that crap of your vote doesn't. That's when they started that mantra of, well, why bother? It doesn't count anyway.
Well, everybody's vote counts. Gerald's
Yes,
right.
it does.
But there used to be a lot of voter apathy when it came to presidential elections, but I don't think there's going to be much voter apathy going on now.
no.
I think, but everybody needs to get out and vote, and our votes are important. And remember, if you're not going to vote for Biden because of a protest, then that's a vote for Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. There's I mean everybody, the country needs to be put in timeout. People need to think about what they've done and what they could do.
Right.
And I think that there's an opportunity for people to step up and to do things in new ways. But what's happening now oftentimes isn't working, and I'm so glad that there are so many people who are stepping up. We are seeing people. We are seeing these little lights in
Yeah.
government and around the globe. We need to see more of those. Is that you? I'm looking at you. Is that you? Don't make me get my tiny hands out. But
I
seriously,
like the
do it.
way Proxy put it. We get good government when we vote for good people.
Well, I think what happens is
Exactly.
that people like Trump, they, when he was running for president the first time, he was anti-Muslim, and it was anti-Mexican, and now he's saying, I'm going to have mass deportations. Who did that? Hitler. Okay, I'm going to have mass deportations. I'm going to build a great wall. I'm going to do this. He played on people's fear.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
anytime you play on people's fear, you play on their emotions, that causes them to suspend their critical thinking. And that's how cults brainwash people. And that's what's going on with those Trumplicans. I think what I see coming in this country is we're going to start to think with our heads instead of our emotions. And I see a time when we'll come back to common sense, because it seems once again lately the common sense has flown right out the window with a lot of these Trumplicans.
Yeah.
And so I see people starting to use their intellect and their common sense a bit. I see an emphasis going back to education. And one of the ways we can keep this from happening again is to educate people.
Yes.
And I see an emphasis going back to that. That's what
Yes.
my guides are telling me.
Yes. And there is this we have to teach history. We have to
Yes.
understand the past so it does not repeat itself, because we understand what happened, how it happened, and why, then we can interact differently.
That's right. I
So without that, yep.
Oh, by the way, Kevin Chandler says it was Turkey who was holding Sweden from joining NATO.
Mm.
Somebody said Hungary, but Kevin
Yeah,
said,
the article I read said Hungary.
"Oh,
So
okay." So I don't know.
maybe it was both. They might have both been dragging their feet. So
And I see Finland joining too.
yeah. Um, let's see.
And NATO's not going to go away. I think, Putin worked with Trump to try to weaken NATO. And when Trump got up there and said, well, any country that doesn't pay their dues to NATO, I wouldn't say anything if Putin invaded. I'm like, what? Who says that? And they're trying to weaken NATO, but it's not going to work. NATO's going to be much stronger, and I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Hilda had a question. Will Jordan face justice for anything?
I
I've
hear
seen
yes.
I've seen him in cuffs, and
Okay.
I've had that vision come to me, him in cuffs.
Well, that whole Smirnoff thing is not going to look good, is it?
I'm telling you. I mean,
I see him indicted, and I see him, and you're right. I see him in orange. And you see him in, what do you think, Gerald?
Well, I got yes, and it will be swift justice, the Eight of Wands, and it is going to put an end to a lot of the crap that is going on. It's going to put a stop to that. The Ten of Swords, and this, this is the people are going to be thinking about that. Do you remember that one time when that happened? And this is the Six of Cups. They're going to reminisce about how they took care of things. So, how they took out the trash, so to speak.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
whew.
Okay. Mina had a question. Will the Jack Smith federal trial be held in March and not be postponed?
I see it being held in March or April. I don't think it's going to be postponed that long. They're trying to postpone it until the election, because the thinking is then if Trump wins, he can pardon himself. But I don't know if a president can pardon himself. But that's not going to work either. I see it happening either starting in March or April. And my timing's off, but it's not going to happen after the election. It's going to happen before the election.
Hmm.
That's what I pick up.
I'm I'm
I'm shuffling.
yeah, I am too. Because
I just
part of
do it off
me
the-
is
I just do it off-
hearing
I
what
just
you're
do it off the
saying.
top of my head. I'm sorry. It just
Yes, but my tiny hands take a long time to shuffle, Mel. It's really hard to shuffle these cards.
I love those props.
So, will the Jack Smith federal trial against Trump be held in March and not postponed?
9 of Swords, Ace of Cups reversed.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Ace of Cups reversed.
yeah. This is the only deck I read reversals on. Is my Light Sears deck just deck just
So what
because
does that mean, Shari?
well, Ace of Cups is usually you're getting an emotional boost, because cups are emotions. Ace is usually right out front, first thing coming. At least that's how I've always interpreted it. Reversed, I would see it as emotions being withheld or something being taken away from you, which will cause your emotions, cause an emotional response.
I take it to mean that's not going to be in favor of Trump.
Yeah, that's what I'm just thinking that with the Ace of Cups reversed, that Trump is not gonna be real happy emotionally because he's not gonna be able to postpone that or get that done away with.
Good.
Go, Gerald. I see you chomping at the
Well,
bit.
I'm not chomping at the bit. It's not going to be held in March. It's going to be held in April, is actually what I get. And the reason for that is I actually think there's going to be a death in someone's family that logistically they need to pause on to take to do the right things and to
Right.
take care of that. I don't know whose that is, but I think it's in April, and I think
April works.
all of the patience and the wisdom that has gone into this and the planning, it's going to it okay. I have I have the 3 of Swords.
Ooh.
There are a lot of people who've been backstabbing in order
Mhm.
to help. With the 7 of Pentacles, which is the card that says you got to let things come to their right time. It's almost time, because I have the Hanged Man and the 2 of Swords. So there's a lot of wisdom going on. So, I mean,
Yeah, I picked up April. I saw the number 4. So we'll
yep. Yeah, and I got the my indicator card was with the death card, and I genuinely think it's the unalive card. And I genuinely think that someone needs to press pause for a minute to take care of family matters.
Got it.
And Arthur has been saying for almost a year now that you have to be breathing to be president.
That's true. There's something here from Geek Hillbilly, and I just maybe that's a good question we can ask. It says Trump has until 5 p.m. Saturday to post the bond to appeal the 83.3 million award to E. Jean Carroll. So if Trump's going to appeal, he still has to put that money aside until whatever the appeals court finds. Do you all think he's going to post that 83.3 million by Saturday? Geek Hillbilly says he don't think that Trump will do it. So what do you all think?
I don't see how he's going to be able to do it unless either Saudi Arabia or Russia step forward and hand him the money to put down, because he doesn't have it. And the banks have already been ordered not, especially the ones in New York. He can't take any loans from any banks based out of New York. That's been cut off by the judge.
Well, if he borrows 83 million from any bank anywhere else, they're going to lose that money. That's for sure. What do you think, Gerald? Do you think he'll be able to come up with it?
Um, my snarky comment is what, has he sold enough shoes in order to be able to make that happen? I mean, and
Absolutely.
so as a gay man, I will never wear gold lame shoes, and certainly I will never wear gold lame shoes. I actually don't. I think he wants to, but he there's no way for him to do it. He does not. I mean, they have not. He's not going to be able to do it.
How do you spell Lame? Lame?
God, do I have to turn in my gay card?
It was a bad joke. Lame.
I know, lame.
I just wonder where he got the gold lame.
The gold lame.
For
You
those,
can buy the same sneakers on Temu.com for under $10.
Oh God.
I think he got the gold from his toilets. You know those gold toilets.
Oh my God.
Anyway, that's a good point, Geek Hillbilly. We shall see, right?
Yeah.
I see he's going to try to keep from putting up. You know, and even the he's appealing that 435 million. But I think if he appeals it, he's got to put that money up too to get that appeal. You can't.
Yeah, they have to put a bond up to appeal it.
That's right. That's right. So we shall see. I don't know if he's going to be able to come up with all that money because I am convinced, my guides tell me, he doesn't have as much money as he'd let everybody to believe.
No. No. And he's keeping that front up as long as possible, Mel. He does not want people to see what's under the hood or what's behind the curtain.
That's right. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
That's exactly right. You know, it's probably the man behind that curtain is dressed in lame.
Is dressed lame.
Yes, lame. It's a really lame joke.
No. It was a bad joke.
You get a gold star for that one.
There you go. Watch somebody else say it's Lamee. Oh, lame with 2 E's instead of 1.
So it's lame.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God.
Well, gentlemen, we've been at this an hour. Are y'all still good to maybe do 1 or 2 more questions, or are you ready?
A couple more, and then
Okay.
Since we had technical difficulties.
Yeah, and we started late. My fault.
It's not your fault.
It's Chrome's fault. As soon as I switched browsers, it was no problem.
It's a computer.
My husband's messing with me. He's making all my tech stuff not working right. That's when I know he's around.
Tell him to stop
messing with me. He starts screwing with the electronics. It's like, cut it out. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Kelly had a question. How will the Palestinian prime minister's resignation affect the Israeli conflict?
Oh, I heard about that today. That the Palestinian prime minister is resigning. I didn't really read far enough to say why, but well, Netanyahu I see gone too in Israel. I see. You know, I'm pro-Israel. I'm just not pro-Netanyahu.
Right.
And you know, the whole world is screaming at Netanyahu because what he's doing now is wrong. And if he attacks, I can't think of that town's name because those people have nowhere to go. It's not going to be good.
He had a hospital blown up last week full of women and children that were injured. It's like, can you get any more cold-hearted than that?
People complain about Putin. They're going to be complaining about Netanyahu just as much. You know, I think it's going to coalesce people around the world to really speak up against Netanyahu. And I think the new prime minister of Palestine is going to be really pushing for Palestine to become a separate state. And I too see two separate states, Israel and Palestine, peacefully coexisting at some point.
Yeah.
That's what I pick up.
I how to phrase it. I support Israel and the fact that they deserved their own country.
Right.
But at the same time, and it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from, you must guard against becoming that which you so hated that you had to fight your way out. I mean, when you think about, because it was what happened to the Jewish nation, during World War II that helped, that pushed, that was implemental in pushing them getting their own country again. Um, it was kind of the backdrop for that. You had Jews from around the world that were going back to Israel because now they had a country again, which was a good thing. But then to turn around and become that which you so reviled and be that to other nations or other peoples, that's almost worse because you know what it feels like. You know what it feels like to be the ones that are being treated that way, and yet you're going to turn around and do it. And that's what Netanyahu is doing. He is destroying their reputation of 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 being a fair people. And it's not the people doing it, it's him. But leadership.
I see Netanyahu gone, and I see the
Yeah.
next prime minister or a prime minister in Israel that's going to be very much for peace, but yet will not put up with any nonsense from Iran or Russia, or any nonsense from Hamas either. We all know that Russia and Iran back that whole Hamas thing, but at the end of the day, I see a prime minister coming to Israel who will be for peace, but yet will be able to set firm boundaries. So that's what I see coming. I see Netanyahu going.
What about you, Gerald?
Well, I got the Tower.
Ooh.
Yes, and I also got the Five of Pentacles. So it's outsider stuff. I mean, it's not. There are opportunities for things to be better, but it's got to finish crumbling before it can be better. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense.
So, I mean, because I do have the Two of Cups, and what I'm worried about is that the wrong excuse me, not the wrong, the prime minister will not have enough time to line up what is needed to do what they want to. But the Tower and the Five of Pentacles, it's just suggesting, yeah, not good. We're talking in rubble.
I see the new Palestinian prime minister will call for peace and will call for world peace, but will also want Palestine to be a separate state, and I do see that happening.
Yeah.
But Israel will also be a separate state, and as I said, a peaceful coexistence.
Yeah, which suggests from this the Two of Cups.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Mel. That feels better. I can not worry about trying to make it all make sense.
That's thank you.
All righty. Kathy's asking, do we see the government seizing all of Trump's assets?
Well, if he doesn't, that he's not going to win the appeals on that fraud case in New York, or what he's got to pay E. Jean Carroll. So if he refuses to pay, they will seize assets, absolutely. Plus, I also see him being charged criminally in New York for the fraud. That was a civil case that he had to pay the $485 million. I see him being charged criminally in New York for that fraud that he committed. So if he doesn't pay up, they will seize his assets. And if the state of New York finds him guilty of fraud on a criminal case, they're going to seize assets as well, because they're going to, especially for taxes for the state, they're going to want their money back. So
Yeah.
that's what I see. So I do see them seizing some of his assets, or a lot of his assets. Absolutely. The only thing is he doesn't own a lot of those properties. It's just got his name on it. People pay him to put his name on it.
Well, I pull the Hermit, if I can get the card to pick up. He's boxed himself into a corner and he's all by himself. Because then I pulled the Ten of Pentacles reversed. So we're looking at he's been chasing this imaginary dream that he's the richest man in the world and can do and buy anything he wants all of his life, when he's not been. He's been very fortunate in having very rich people around him who have bailed his ass out. It was his daddy before his daddy died. He would be worth, from what I've read, 10 times what he says he's worth if he had just put the money in the damn banks and let it do its thing, and just left it alone.
Well, Trump didn't make the money, his father did.
Yeah. But I mean, he didn't start out a pauper. He started out with a bank full of cash. So, and went through that before dad even died. So, I mean, there's only, he's lost more fortune than he ever inherited. And if he'd have just left it in the bank and just ran around being a playboy, he'd have a lot more money in the bank right now than he does.
So my question is with this, do you see the government seizing Trump's assets? I'm wondering, has he been spending time putting assets in other people's names?
The answer is yes, but I think they said he couldn't do that, and if he's doing that, they will find it. They'll do audits, forensics audits, and they'll find it.
He tried to do an in run in New York where he tried to move several of his companies to companies in Florida with a different address, and that judge, that retired judge that's overseeing their accounts, she nipped that in the bud. She caught it and said, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, I'm getting the idea. I mean, that's already happened and they missed it. So
I think he's been squirreling money away for a long time, just like the rest of his family, his kids, his trophy wife. They've all been squirreling money away for a rainy day.
But I see them doing audits and finding that money.
Yes.
And so, so there we go.
I agree with you. I'm looking at my cards and I'm looking, yes, and it's going to be, the auditors are going to be really, really thorough. And that's going to be awesome. Because, I mean, yeah. I got the King of Swords. I got 3 kings. I got the King of Swords, King of Wands, and the King of Cups.
Wow.
So there's going to be, the auditors are going to be quite good. Oh, no way. Excuse me. I got all 4 kings, the King of Pentacles.
Wow.
Oh, holy moly. Pull the Ace of Wands. So, I mean,
wow.
There's a lot of potential there for what they're going to find.
That's going to be great.
Yeah. And then it was followed by the Magician. So they're going to pull out every tool at their disposal.
Oh, they will. I mean,
they're going to drain him dry.
Trump will always try trickery and deceit. But, I wrote here nothing more pathetic than a fallen dictator. Because I asked my guides to give a message about Trump before we sign off, and it came through nothing more pathetic than a fallen dictator.
Yeah.
And here again, justice, they don't say justice will be done, they say justice shall be done.
Yes. Ooh, I like that.
It was very strong, by the way. It was one of my guides. He's very forceful. Unlike me. Unlike me.
You said a while back, Mel, several weeks back, you made a comment about don't let fear stand behind you and push you.
I
Let
said,
it
don't let
stand
it.
in front of you.
I said, don't let it stand in front of you and hold you back.
Back
Let it stand behind you and
behind
push
you.
you forward.
Yeah.
That's
And
beautiful.
I took what you said and I put it out and I put it in my signature for my email. And I can't tell you how many comments I have gotten from people saying, who is this person and where did you hear this? What a great quote.
Well, it came to me from my guides when I had cancer. And,
Yeah.
there
I
were
just said he's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And it just, when you said it, it was like my light bulbs all went off in neon. And I was like, oh, you got to mark that down.
there
So,
were times I was petrified. And,
yeah.
I told the doctor I just got to be a champion patient. That's my way of dealing with this. And I would just get really afraid. And my guides came through and said, really, it was crystal clear. Don't let the fear stand in front of you and hold you back. Let it get behind you and push you forward.
Yeah.
And that's my advice to all of us in this country. Let's let the fear push us forward. And as Gerald said, and you said, Shari, everybody get out and vote. Because if you don't vote, unless you have a medical reason where you can't vote, that's different. But if you don't vote, then don't bitch about things.
Correct.
And if you have a medical condition that you can't go to the polls, there's no reason why you shouldn't qualify for absentee ballot.
Correct.
Oh,
I
yes.
vote from home. They email me my ballots, and I fill it out and I mail it in. I mean, I don't know how long that's going to last before the new governor takes that little tidbit away, but for right now, I'm still getting it in my emails. So that's pretty damn good. I've never lived anywhere where they emailed you your ballot. And I can actually go online and I can fill it out online if I want to. I don't have to print it out and fill it out and send it in. I can
People are
fill it
saying
out online.
people are saying in the comments section about other countries paying Trump's lawsuit and stuff like that. I don't know if the courts will allow that, because if they pay Trump and then he gives that money to the state of New York or to E. Jean Carroll, then that's income and he has to pay income tax on that. So I don't think the courts are going to let him get money from foreign governments to pay what the courts say he has to pay.
Yeah.
I think they're going to scrutinize where he gets that money very, very carefully.
Good. They need to.
I just, a lot of people in the comment section, I'm kind of reading the comments as we go along. So
I was trying to keep up with them and Star. I know I missed a lot of people. I do apologize. I tried to catch as many as I could. And Gerald was putting some in the private chat for me to catch if I missed them.
Hilda Flores tells me I need more moderators. The only thing is I can't do it from StreamYard. I have to do it
from YouTube.
And
but
now
you can go in after the show, Mel. You can go in after the show and your chat comes up after it processes and the chat will show and you can make him a moderator then.
I will. Hilda Flores. Thank you, Hilda. I just can't do it from StreamYard, but I will do it. I'll do it on YouTube, because right now we're streaming from StreamYard onto my YouTube channel, but I'm not seeing you on YouTube. I'm seeing you through StreamYard. So that's why I do it right now. But I will.
Absolutely. And
all right.
Yeah, I don't have any of my other stuff up either because I had to go to a different browser. So I don't have everything saved. So I don't know. Anyway, well, it's been an hour and 20 minutes.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh,
You're
let's do this
welcome.
again. This was fun.
You're welcome back anytime, Gerald. Just say the word.
Well,
Anytime
we
you
need
got
to
a
get
free Monday, you just say something.
Arthur back because that guy's funny too.
Well,
Absolutely.
we'll have
He had a prior commitment tonight. That's why he couldn't be here tonight.
we'll have Shari, me, the Stash, and Arthur. How's that?
Here we go.
There you go.
And they can call
All
us.
that feminine energy just coming out the screen.
And they can call us the Fabulous Four. How's that?
There you go.
No,
I like
there you
that.
go. Fantastic Four. I love
The
it.
Fantastic Four. We could do
Wow.
that on the opposite Mondays.
There you
Oh
go.
gosh.
For draining the swamp, the opposite Mondays we could do the Fantastic Four. And just
Let's do it. We'll talk to Arthur about it. I like it.
yeah, absolutely.
And I'm going to start in the mornings, morning moments with Mel. So
there you go. And
There you go.
he's 3 days a week.
and I'm hoping to get my daily message up and running again to everybody. I've been kind of lax in that department, what with being sick and everything going on, that I just didn't do it. No excuse. So and I mean, it's under a minute long. It's like, come on, Shari, get your crap together. um So thank y'all very much for being here tonight. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Definitely the best chatters ever. Y'all have made this exciting and interesting. You asked some wonderful questions. Please be sure you check the description box and go to Mel and Gerald's channels and like, subscribe, and share. And go in and leave a message or an emoji or something after the show that helps boost the algorithm. There you go. See, Gerald comes prepared.
Love it.
And
I love the credits. Those are so cool the way he's doing it.
And this has been Draining the Swamp.
We just exposed more stuff. So
There you go.
All
There
right.
you go.
all right, everybody. Thank y'all and have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.